Okay, so we're finished with the last 4 double crochet, and now we're going to slip stitch into the beginning shell. Now you're going to slip stitch into the next stitch and slip stitch into the first chain 1 space. Now we're going to make a shell, so chain 3, now on the previous row where you did the 4 double crochet, you're going to do 2 double crochet between the first 2, 1 double crochet in the next one, and then between the last 2 you're going to do 2 double crochet, and that will give you a total of 5 double crochet. So in between the first 2 you're going to do 2 double crochet, then you're going to do 1 double crochet in between the next 2 double crochet, now between the next 2 you're going to do 2 more double crochet for a total of 5 double crochet. So in between the last 2, and you have a total of 5 double crochet. Then in the next chain 1 space you're going to do another shell. Then in the next previous row 4 double chains, you're going to do another 5 double chains. In between the first 2 you're going to do 2 double chains, and you're going to do 1 double chain in between the next 2, and then in between the next 2 you're going to do 2 more. So you can see the pattern. You have a shell, and then you have the 5 double chain, then you have a shell and the 5 double chain, and you can see how it's building from the 1, then you have 2, then you have 3, then you have 4, and then you have 5. And I like to do up to a total of 6. So you can go ahead and finish this row where you have the shell and 5, and then you're going to slip stitch the end of this row, and then do your 6th row where you have a shell and 6 double crochet. And then when you're done with your 6 rows, come back and then I'll show you how to change colors. Okay, so you should be finishing up your row that has the 6 double chains. And I just finished this shell, and I'm going to show you how I spaced the 6 in between the previous row of 5 double chains. So in between the first 2 double chains, you're going to do 2 double chains. That's 1. There's 2. So in between the next 2, you're going to do 1 double chain. So now I have 3, and then in the next, between the next 2 double chains, you're going to do 1 more. So now I have 4 double chains, and then in between the next 2, you're going to do 2 more for a total of 6. So now your work looks like this, and you can see how you have under the arm you have 2 of them, but that counts as your 1. And then on the next row you have 2. Next row you have 3. Next row you have 4. Then the next row you have 5. And then the last row you have 6. And this is the last row before you change colors. So now you're going to take your work and slip stitch to your first shell. And now you're going to slip stitch in your next stitch and slip stitch into the first chain 1 space. And now we're going to change colors. So we go back to the blue. And go ahead and pull the blue yarn through, like that. Now you're going to chain 1, and we're going to turn the work over and then tie a knot. So you can go ahead and cut your previous color and tie your knot. Now what you're going to do is chain 3, and you can see how you have your 2 cut ends. We're going to bury this underneath the shells and the double chains. So you can hold your work like this, and you're going to yarn over, go into the chain 1 space for a double chain, and then chain 1, yarn over, and 1 more double chain, and you finished a shell in the first chain 1 space with your changed color. Now you're going to go into the previous row's 6 double chains, and you're going to do 2 double chains in between the first 2 double chains. So make sure that you bury the cut ends of the yarn, and it's 1 double chain. We'll do 1 more in the same spot. And you can pull on your tails, the cut tails, a little bit. Now, into the next space, between the next 2 double chains, you're going to do 1 double chain. And in between the next 2, you're going to do another 1 double chain. And then in between the next 2, you're going to do 1 more double chain. And then between the last 2 double chains, you're going to do 2 more in the same stitch. So 1 double chain and 2 double chains. So now you have a total of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 7 double chains. In the next chain 1 space, you're going to do another shell. And you can go ahead and cut your 2 loose ends that you were burying. So now your work looks like this. You have 1 shell, and then you have the 7 double chains, and then 1 shell. Now you're going to do 7 double chains spaced just like we did before, and you're going to do this all the way around, and then you're going to slip stitch, and then we'll start the next row. Now we finished the row of blue, and I've already slip stitched. Now we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch, and slip stitch into the first chain 1 space, and then we're going to change colors. This will be our last row. Change back to, you can change any colors that you like. These are the colors that, the way that I like to do the colors, and this time I'm making a blue one because I want it to match my blue tail topper that I made. So you're going to single chain and then turn over. Then you're going to cut the previous color that you had, and then tie a knot. Now you're going to chain 3, and remember you want to bury your cut ends of the yarn, so just make sure that you have them to the side when you do your double chain. So now you're going to do a double chain into the chain 1 space, and you're going to chain 1 and 2 more double chains for your first shell. Pull the cut ends because you're going to bury them beneath your double chains that you do in your previous 7 double chains. Now in between the first 2 double chains, you're going to do 2 double chains, and then in between your next 2 you're going to do 1 double chain. In between your next 2 you're going to do another double chain. And then between the next 2 you're going to do another double chain. And your work looks like this so far. So you can see you have 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to do 1 more double chain there, and then in the last 2 we're going to do 2 more. So a total of 8 double chains for your last row. So you have one shell and then 8 double chains, and in your next chain 1 space you're going to do another shell, and then in the previous rows 7 double chains, you're going to do 8 double chains spaced just like you did here. And you're going to do that all the way around, and then I'll show you how to complete the project. Okay, we're back, and this is how your work should be looking. These are adorable. These make perfect gifts. So on your last tail, this is what you have. Just leave it like that, and I'll show you how to bury those when we're done. What you're going to do next is get the same color as your potholder dress on a tapestry needle, and we're going to sew the top. So the top right now is open. So you're going to take your loose tail and just put that on the inside. Nobody will be able to see it in there. And then make sure that your top lines up. And we're going to go ahead and sew it. So you're going to take your tapestry needle and you're just going to go through, and you want to go right at the base here, this spot. Go through to the other side, pull it through, and leave a long enough tail so you can sew it in to your project so no one can see it. And then from the other side, you're going to come through with your needle, pull it tight, and then just tie a knot. And then just evenly space about this far apart. Just sew it all the way across. And then I usually go back to where you started. And then when you get to about this point, take your tapestry needle, go through the center. And then from the bottom, take your needle, tapestry needle, pull it through. And then take your other thread that's hanging out and go ahead and put that through the center also. And then go from underneath and pull that through. and then turn your work inside out. And you can see all your loose strands on the inside. And these you don't really have to worry about because no one can see them, but just cut them, leave long enough strands on the inside where no one can see them. And you can see on the outside that you can't tell the loose strands were there. And then take your previous tail with your tapestry needle, and we're going to weave that into the inside of the dress. And you can go ahead and cut that. And then all of your loose ends are gone. Now we're going to do a little hanging circle at the center up here. So you're going to take the same thread that you used to sew, if you have some left, and take your hook, and you're going to go into the center. Go ahead and measure, see where the center is. This looks about right here. Just go through the work, and you're going to hook your loose yarn and pull it through. Then you're going to take the other end of the loose yarn and you're going to chain one. Then you're going to take and tie a knot. And you're going to take your hook again, and you're going to chain 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And you're going to go back through the same spot, same stitch with your hook. You're going to grab your yarn, you're going to hook it and pull it through. Then you're going to grab your yarn again, pull it through all the way, pull it tight so you have a loop there, and then you're going to tie another knot. Tie it tight. Then you're going to take your loose ends with your tapestry needle, and you're going to go through the center into the middle of the dress, pull it in. Do the same with both. Then you're going to take your dress, turn it inside out. Just make sure all of your strands are pulled through. And then what I usually do, the ones that you just pulled through, I tie another knot just to give it extra so it doesn't come loose. And then you're going to take and cut the loose strands at a short level, not too short, but just short enough to where you can't see it and it doesn't come loose. And then your project is done. So you have your neat, you can either hang this or you can just use it at parties to put your hot pad as a hot pad for putting your hot dishes on.